The Republican majority leader announced over the weekend that he was going to hold this nomination of Loretta Lynch until the bill, which is pending before the Senate, passes, whenever that may be. And so, Loretta Lynch, the first African-American woman nominated to be Attorney General, is asked to sit in the back of the bus when it comes to the Senate calendar. That is unfair. It's unjust. It is beneath the decorum and dignity of the United States Senate.
Democratic Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois saying the GOP has put Attorney General nominee Loretta Lynch at the back of the bus. Tim Scott, who it's worth noting is a South Carolina senator and the Senate's only African American, happens to be a Republican, took exception to that accusation, saying Democrats are just trying to use race in this nomination fight. So that sets the stage for our political panel. Let's bring in from our Newsmax TV newsroom, Javier Manjarres on the right, the managing editor of the Shark Tank political blog, and on the left, Skyping in from Washington, D.C., Neil Sroka, communications director for Democracy for America. So this whole thing, back of the bus, Javi? Your take on that cat call?
Well, again, it speaks to their desperation. Look, they got beat in this past November's elections. So what do? They pull back one of their Democrat playbook talking points, race. It always works for them. They think it always works for them. And again, they're not pushing back Loretta Lynch's nomination because of her color. They're pushing it back as the Democrats, and that's the big issue here. The Democrats are at fault here. They're the ones who refuse to vote on this because their views on abortion aren't being addressed here, and so they're pushing it back. So look, even if the vote gets pushed back a week or so, really is that going to make a difference for Loretta Lynch? She may or may not be voted in, but it may not. It's not going to take more than a week or so. I think the votes for that abortion bill is for that human trafficking bill is going to come down within the next week or so.
Neil, your take?
I mean, let's be clear here. Loretta Lynch is the first Attorney General in history to have languished on the floor of the U.S. Senate for over 40 days now. She also happens to be the first African-American female nominee for this position. And one does have to wonder why Republicans are using her as a bargaining chit in this debate. There's absolutely no reason why the discussion over the human trafficking bill is in any way connected to the Loretta Lynch nomination. That should go through. And I think there's good reason to raise question about what's really going on.
Absolutely wrong. It's ridiculous. I mean, it was been on the docket. Next step is this human trafficking bill. Let's deal with that. Then you deal with Loretta Lynch. Look, it's
historic.
Ridiculous
though,
that you're saying. Listen, it's ridiculous that you people on moveover.org or wherever you guys are from are making this a race issue. It's not. It's not because she's black, white, or purple, or Hispanic, whatever.
Well, let me ask it this way of Neil, because Dick Durbin, a few years ago, when Condoleezza Rice was nominated for Secretary of State, it wasn't the back of the bus. The quote was that she had a place at the table in deciding American foreign policy, and he disagreed with it. He voted against him. Nobody said Dick Durbin was a racist.
Well, and listen, there are going to be plenty of people who are going to vote against Loretta Lynch, but she should have a chance to have that vote come up to the Senate. Right now, Senate Republicans have been blocking her nomination for 40 days for strictly partisan and, frankly, other questionable reasons. So I think there's a reason to ask why she's being held at the back of the bus.
How are they blocking her? They're just interrogating her, if you want to call it that. They're questioning her. Why not? Shouldn't we expect that of everyone who's being nominated for Attorney General? Come on. It's ridiculous.
We should, but it's not like there's any interrogation happening right now on the Senate floor.
It's pathetic.
No, this is actually, it's really sad that this is the person that we're going to hold back for 40 days. This is a historic.
What difference does it make if they're black, white, or Hispanic, or purple? What difference does it make? You're making it a race issue.
I think there's a reason to wonder why this is happening.
There's no reason to wonder why. It's pathetic to even go to that, even stoop to that level.
Well, let's understand what's going on here. And it's the difficulties, quite frankly. There was a hesitation to bring up her nomination because it doesn't appear the votes are there. They're having a tough time cobbling together a majority, and they may end up with Orrin Hatch and Jeff Flake and Lindsey Graham, and that may give her the margin to get through. But this doesn't occur in a vacuum, Neil. And so the delay may not be so harmful as much as it is people trying to cobble together votes. Neil, we'll give you the last 15.
Yeah, Loretta Lynch has been confirmed by the Senate before for a different position, so there's no reason why she can't be confirmed now. This is a historic blockage of her nomination, and we have to wonder why.
Keep on race baiting. Where's Al Sharpton when we need him?
Well, now let's not go into hysterics over something that could be historic. Our panel will continue after this.
I think I would have closed Guantanamo on the first day. I didn't because at that time, as you'll recall, we had a bipartisan agreement that it should be closed. My Republican opponent, had also said it should have been closed. And I thought that we had enough consensus there that we could do it in a more deliberate fashion.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Our commander-in-chief saying at a town hall in Cleveland yesterday he wishes he would have closed GITMO on his first day in office. So why didn't he? Well, President Obama said that bipartisan support was just lacking. Let's continue our conversation with the political panel. On the right, Javier Manjarres, managing editor of the Shark Tank political blog, and on the left, Neil Sroka, communications director for Democracy for America. So Neil, the commander-in-chief, he ran on it. He cited McCain, who also was in favor of closing it. Why didn't he?
He didn't close it because there are chickens in both the Democratic side of Congress and the Republican side of Congress that somehow think that American prisons can't handle the worst of the worst. We handle them every day. We've got amazing, federal employees that are ensuring that we, in supermax prisons that are keeping, bad guys away from other bad guys. I don't see any reason why we can't do that in the United States. And frankly, it's just a bunch of fear-mongering from Republicans and a few Democrats that prevented that from happening.
Javier?
Look, let's get something very clear. These are foreign nationals. They have no rights to the United States judicial system or any rights in the United States whatsoever. So they should have been kept. They should be kept in Guantanamo Bay. But I'm more one of those proponents of having them get lost somewhere in some black site, some CIA black site. But look, President Obama could still close down GITMO if he wanted to. He doesn't have to go through the base realignment and disclosure process in the Congress. There's obscure laws on the books that give him the right to, through the Secretary of Defense, close down GITMO and other bases, and just have to notify the Congress that they're doing so. He could do it if he wants.
So the choice that Javier is presenting is secret killings or holding them in perpetuity in Guantanamo. Oh, great. So yeah. I'd like to think that the United States is a little bit better than secretly killing our adversaries.
I have a lot of faith. I have a lot of faith in the judicious system. Listen, if they had a chance, they would behead you, Neil.
Listen, I'm sure they would, but I think the American justice
so let's
system
give them
is
rights.
better than that.
No, wait a minute. You just said something there, Neil, that we need to drill down. The American criminal justice system. Enemy combatants are not American citizens. Do you not see a distinction? This is not a typical crime and punishment issue, really, is it?
Well, we also have a system of military justice as well, where we can hold them accountable. Listen,
thus the president gets Guantanamo. Thus the prison at GITMO.
All right, Neil, this is the
thus the prison at GITMO, but we haven't been actually pushing them through trials fast enough. Listen, there are tons of people right now in Guantanamo who we actually know can and should be released, but because of chickens in both on both the Democratic side and the House side, we aren't getting them out of prison.
Hey Neil, how do you know we're not pushing these trials through? Are you privy to something we don't know? You have some kind of security clearance that we don't know? Because I don't know this.
I'm hearing the same reports you are. These court cases have been lagging for almost a decade now. There's no reason to believe they're moving quicker than either you or I know.
Well, in terms of the description chicken, you talked about a bipartisan reluctance, and really when push came to shove, it was the notion of taking trials away from GITMO and moving them to like New York or smaller cities in New York where people said, hey, wait a minute, we don't want it here. So is it really chicken or an understandable reluctance to bring in terrorists to people's backyard or suspected terrorists, Neil?
We have plenty of people who are really bad people that are incarcerated in prisons throughout the United States. Too many, frankly. And let's imprison them. Let's take care of the people that we capture the way that a country that actually respects human rights should.
We do respect human rights, but these are extreme. These are Muslim extremists that don't care about your rights or their own rights. They don't have any
Listen,
rights.
I understand why it's helpful to dehumanize these people, but let's be better than them. Let's be better than them.
Okay, put the Kool-Aid down.
We appreciate both of you offering a very clear difference of opinion, part and parcel of our political panel. Neil Sroka from Washington, Javier Manjarres from our newsroom. You have our thanks. Coming back with The Way I See It.